A drainage ditch along Highway 99 has filled with debris. It is being cleaned in preparation for spring rains. This is a typical Oregon Department of Transportation operation. Typical in the importance of the job, the skill of the crew, and the heavy machinery being used. It's also typical in one other critical factor: location. Highway maintenance crews perform their jobs in one of the most dangerous places in America, our highways. Your job as a flagger is to lessen that danger to the work crews by guiding traffic safely through a work zone. This means with a minimum of confusion and without the possibility of accidents being caused by the work area or the traffic control. To passing motorists, it may seem non-productive or easy, but both ideas are very wrong. Flagging is important to the lives of your fellow workers, yourself, and the public on the road. And flagging takes concentration, alertness, a knowledge of the construction process, and an ability to deal with the public in sometimes trying situations. So your responsibility as a flagger is threefold: to protect your co-workers, yourself, and the public, to guide traffic safely through a work area, and to represent the state, contractor, and yourself in a positive manner. Remember, you are the public relations officer for your employer. Presenting a positive image is important. It's okay to talk to the waiting motorists. When appropriate, advise the first driver of the situation in a brief, courteous statement.
You won't be detained very long, as you can see. It's just a couple of minutes.
No hurry, I ain't going nowhere.
Great.
Motorists appreciate knowing how long they will be delayed. Advise other motorists if it is safe to do so, but never lean on vehicles or argue with occupants. In addition to your regular work clothing, you must wear a reflectorized orange vest and an orange, yellow, or white hard hat. Use the octagon-shaped stop-slow paddle to control traffic through the work zone. Be sure it's clean and in good shape. Before we address specific flagging situations, let's look at signing. Most maintenance crews are responsible for the installation of traffic control devices during construction and maintenance. Advance warning signs do one essential thing: they forewarn motorists that workers are ahead. Remember, when most people drive into a construction zone, they are thinking of something else and must switch their thinking to react to the new situation. Following are 8 things to remember when placing advance warning signs. Flaggers must be preceded by appropriate work signs. Be prepared to stop, and flagger ahead signs must always be used together, never separately. Signs are of a diamond shape. Signs on multi-lane highways are 4 feet by 4 feet and maybe 3 feet by 3 feet on other highways and streets. Every advance warning sign must have 2 16-inch by 16-inch flags attached to it. Signs on portable supports are to be mounted 1 foot above the roadway. Minimum spacing between signs is 200 feet in urban settings, 500 feet in rural areas, and 1,000 feet on freeways. Signs must be covered, turned, or removed when no longer appropriate. Your flagging station should be far enough in advance of the work site so that approaching traffic will have sufficient distance to reduce speed before entering the project. This station will vary with the situation, but ideally the flagger will be 500 feet to 1,000 feet from the flagger ahead sign and 200 feet to 300 feet from the work zone equipment and crew. You should be stationed sufficiently ahead of the workforce to be able to warn them of approaching danger, such as out-of-control vehicles, if possible. In urban areas, the distance is decreased. When choosing your flagging position, remember this: you must be visible. Check the background to be sure you don't blend into it. Also, stand alone, away from groups that may interfere with your job or the driver's ability to see you. Position yourself on the right edge of the traveled lane, facing the approaching traffic or standing sideways. You may have to adjust your placement to worksite conditions, but never stand in an open traffic lane. Once you have your position, stay there. Don't wander around the road, and never turn your back on traffic or assume that drivers will see or obey you. As the flagger on duty, you must remain alert at all times. This means don't sit or recline on the job. It's critical for you to be able to communicate quickly with your coworkers. Lives depend on your quick reaction to a sudden hazard. And remember, you should be clearly visible to approaching traffic at all times, never obscured by curves, hills, or equipment. And always plan ahead for action to be taken in an emergency. Do not leave your position unless you have been properly replaced or the job site is shut down. A flagger needs to know and use 3 basic signals: stop, slow, and release. To stop traffic, hold the paddle with the full area of the sign visible to the driver. Keep your palm extended toward the approaching driver and maintain eye contact until the vehicle comes to a complete stop. Be firm, command attention, and stop the vehicle. After the first vehicle has been stopped, move near the center line so you can be seen by other approaching drivers. Don't stand directly in front of the stopped car, and never move into the opposite lane of traffic. Keep the stop sign showing until it is time to permit traffic to pass through the work area. When releasing traffic, move to the shoulder of the road. Put the paddle in the hand furthest from the vehicle. Show the waiting drivers the slow side of the paddle, and motion with your free hand for them to proceed. When releasing vehicles to the left side, remain at the center of the roadway and motion for traffic to proceed. After all vehicles have passed, turn the paddle to stop and wait for the next vehicle. Your sign has 2 sides. Don't confuse drivers coming from the opposite direction by improperly displaying the stop side of the paddle. You regulate the traffic. The speed and motion of your hand should correspond to the desired action of the driver. When flaggers on each end of the worksite can see each other, they can communicate with signals. But the signals should not be such that would be mistaken by motorists for flagging signals. When flaggers cannot see each other, they should maintain contact with portable radios. Identifying the last vehicle by description or license number lets the other flagger know when to let his proceed.
Gonna have 3 and then a little gap. Be a small minivan.
As a flagger, your 3 major responsibilities are to protect your fellow workers, yourself, and the public, to guide traffic safely through the work area, and to be courteous at all times. The Oregon Department of Transportation has developed a flagger handbook for job safety. Be sure you read and understand this handbook. If you have any questions about your duties as a flagger, don't hesitate to ask your supervisor. Remember, as a flagger, the safety of the worksite is in your hands.